guys, fight commentary breakdowns, fight commentary chats. I got a really special guest. We were just talking about his name, so we will start with his name. This guy's name is Rage Eng. So welcome, Rage.
Thank you. Back in the mid-90s, things were a little bit different back then, you know? Things were a little more hardcore, and I knew that I wanted to be an MMA fighter, and I didn't want to be a poser. So I was like, you know what? I'm going to change my name. I'm going to go all out. And so I changed my name to Rage. And I wanted just one word, one syllable, Rage. No last name, nothing. And I got to court, and the judge was like, this isn't LA. You're not Prince. You have to have a surname. And I was just like, but my sister-in-law, her last name is Eng. And so I went with Rage Eng. And then, yeah, fought bare knuckle MMA. Back then it was called No Holds Barred. You know, and I was wrong about a great many things. I thought, you know, MMA is going to fix boxing and it's going to make boxing more hardcore. And no, capitalism corrupted everything, and we got the soft version. But
yeah. So let's start and talk about your martial arts career. How did you get started with martial arts?
That's an interesting question. I was both my parents are ministers.
Oh.
And so I was raised as a pacifist, which meant I was a target.
Oh.
And so I was bullied and got the shit kicked out of me. Oh man, for 6 years straight.
Wow.
Yeah, like I was 6 years old until I was about 12. And then my teenage rebellion was hidden back. And by the time you start hitting back, you're not afraid of getting hit anymore.
Yeah.
I was beat, you know, so it's like, what are you going to do to me that hasn't been done? And found out that I had a talent for violence. And was about to get kicked out of school. And as a last ditch effort, my parents put me in traditional karate.
Oh.
Like, maybe if we can structure it, he'll stop fighting. We won't have to. And that's what happened. Actually, I started, it was a Shorin-ryu karate when I was like 13 or 14 years old, and did that and was great at it, loved it. My senior year of high school, I skipped a lot and would go do tournaments instead of going to school. And so, but back then it was American kickboxing. Yeah, so, you know, and then shortly after that, I was introduced to Muay Thai. And then after that, not too long down, you know, we saw the UFC, and I was like, oh man, I got to do that. And so then I started training, and I fought, and back then it was illegal. You know, it started out, it was huge. It broke all the pay-per-view records, and then certain commercial interests got upset about that, and John McCain got on board and called it human cockfighting, and tried to bury MMA and the UFC. But there was a really strong underground, no holds barred in New York and New York City. And New York was actually one of the last places to let MMA become legal. And it's kind of like Baptists and bootleggers. It's like the counties that are dry counties have the most bootlegging, right? Have the most moonshine. And it's the same thing, you know, when you make something illegal, it's usually because there's a very strong black market for it, and the special interests want to protect that. And that's what was happening in the Northeast, in like New England and New York City. There was a strong underground illegal fight community. So I had 17 bare knuckle, no hold bar MMA fights.
Wow.
And back then we did like tournaments. So you have like 3 fights in one night. And,
Wow. Just like the first UFC events, basically.
yeah. And we were dumb. Our balls were bigger than our brains. We wanted to show how tough we were. And even in our training, like, half the time we didn't even use shin pads or didn't even know about shin pads, So yeah, from late 1997 to about May of 2001, I had 17 professional MMA bare knuckle fights. And then in training, I fractured my orbital and found out that I had an eyesight addiction.
Oh.
And basically I was told, if you get hit in that eye again, you'll lose that eye. So yeah. So I was like, well, okay, I'm not quitting. I'm just going on hiatus. And so after year after year, it's like, whether you like it or not, old boy, you're retired.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so then once I got finally accepted that I wasn't going to fight anymore, then I started coaching.
Yeah. Yeah. And what were your opponents like? Were they very much like you, or did they come from all walks of life?
The whole scene was controlled by the New York families, the mafia. So most of the guys had some affiliation to one of the families or the others. There was some of the OMG scene also. So because it was illegal, there was a lot of guys with criminal pasts but it was a mixed bag. A lot of karate guys back then. But like real hardcore, legit, like, ouch, karate, not the strip mall karate. Like the knuckles that are like,
like super big. I've seen those knuckles. Ooh.
Yeah. So yeah, it was
wow.
Yeah, when being the old guy, you romanticize the old times and you think about how tough we were. But then like you watch the first 4 UFCs and you're just like, okay, the sport's better now. The sport is better now. I'm sorry. Yeah. It is. I think in some ways it got watered down, but they made it a sport. They legitimized it. And I have a career because of that.
So when you started coaching, who were the clients you had?
When I was fighting, I was my own S&C coach because back then nobody knew anything, right? So I mean, like S&C, strength and conditioning, was awful. It was just terrible, and professional fitness was terrible, and strength and conditioning within the combat sports. Back then, lifting weights will make you slow, and everybody's got to run 10 miles a day every day, and just stupid old timey stuff. So I realized, okay, well, I need to educate myself in order to train myself. And so I got involved with something called RTS, Resistance Training Specialist. And it's a very high-end biomechanics, exercise mechanics, certification, education. And so as I was fighting, I was also like teaching fitness classes and doing some personal training. And then once I shattered my eye socket, I got real serious about the education and went and did like 4-day weekends where we would do cadaver anatomy and, cut apart the body and actually see how everything works. And yeah, it really, really sophisticated biomechanics. And so because of that, with the experience that I had for myself, with all the education I gave, and then the continuing education that I did with the RTS program, I was able to be one of the top S&C coaches. And so there was something called the All-American Heavyweight Program in Carson, California. And Michael King, who was one of the producers for the Oprah show, had this idea that he was going to make this television series and it was going to be a reality show and blah, blah, blah. And so he got all these massive guys, these heavyweights that were kind of second tier in other sports. A lot of football players, a lot of basketball players. And he thought, we'll take these super athletes and we'll teach them how to box. And so I was involved with that. And at that time, there was it was called The Rock in Carson, California. And that kind of became a hot spot for heavyweight boxing, where a lot of legit heavyweight boxers would then come in and spar with each other and that's when I started working with Joe Hanks. And Joe Hanks got ranked as high as like 8 in the heavyweight division. I went to China with him. So I was his second corner and his strength and conditioning coach. And so when I came into the industry as a coach, I kind of didn't have to work my way up because I kind of made a lateral move from S&C. And then I had this stable of heavyweight professional boxers, and I'd bring them in to Black House MMA to spar with their MMA fighters. And so I got in at Black House, and Black House at this time had Lyoto Machida, Glover Teixeira, Anderson Silva, and I'm forgetting some of the other names that were there. So it was, and this is probably 2010, 2012, somewhere around there. So I was working in professional boxing. I was doing strength and conditioning for boxers and for MMA fighters. I was coaching boxing and I was coaching MMA.
Wow.
And then everything just kind of, fighters get old real fast. And this thing happens in the life cycle of a fighter every 2 or 3 years. So when you start out as an amateur, you're all gung-ho and you have these visions that you're going to be the world champion, you're going to be the best in the world, and you're going to and then about 2 years into your amateurs, you find out that it's really hard to pay rent. It's really hard to buy groceries. And it's really hard to get opponents. So the better you do, the more diligent you are, the better you train, the harder it is to get opponents in the amateurs, right? Like you do well, you smoke a few guys, and all of a sudden you're like 6-0. Nobody wants to fight you, but you've only had 6 fights.
Yeah.
Right. So now it's like, well, you don't want to turn pro with only 6 fights under your belt. And that's if everything goes right. But right around the 2-year mark of being an amateur, you find out how hard it is, and then you kind of have like a dark night of the soul, and a lot of people decide to go to a trade school, to do something else, because honestly, the economics is not good.
Yeah.
There's no middle class. You're broke until you're rich.
Yeah.
And only a few people ever make it to the point where they're rich. But I don't know. I kind of put it all up front and tell everyone how hard this is going to be. And you're going to have these checkpoints, these dark nights of the soul where you come upon it, and then you have the question, is this what I really want to do? And, I've worked with guys who could have done anything they wanted and, had college degrees and had good jobs and could have stopped fighting and gone and had a successful 9-to-5 and raised a family, right? And I've had lots of guys go both ways. I've had guys like that say, no, I'm all in, I'm a fighter. And I've had other guys go, fighting is kind of stupid. I want to go on vacation. I want to have paid. I want to have health insurance. But that 2-year point keeps coming up again. So you turn pro and you find out, you think you're a pro. I'm going to get paid to fight. No, you're not. Because now you got to, especially in California, which most of my career was in. My personal fight career was in New York City. And then I moved to LA, and most of my coaching was in LA under CSAC, the California State Athletic Commission.
Mm-hmm.
And when you turn pro, you got to get these neurological exams. You got to go to this doctor. You got to get you got to get checked for concussions, and you got to have an eye exam. You have to, and $1,100 later, and then you have to have someone who's a licensed professional trainer sign off that you're ready to go pro.
Yeah.
And so after you're done paying all the fees, right, it's expensive, somewhere between $1,000 and $1,500, and all those fees. Not to mention you had to pay for surviving in your training camp and everything else. And then you finally get on the pro card, and you get paid like a percentage of your ticket sales, and maybe $500. So you lose money on your first fight as a pro.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas an amateur, you're getting a percentage of ticket sales, but you don't have to pay for the license, right? So you never break even on the training until you're a later pro. So right around the 2-year mark of being a pro, you come and you have that dark night of the soul, the come to Jesus moment. What am I doing with my life? I've only scratched the surface. It's been 5 years. I've been busting my ass. I'm broke. I'm in debt. Man, the road is so far to make it to the next level. And a lot of people drop out. A lot of people drop out first, second year as a professional fighter. The economics of it, especially in Los Angeles, in California, the economics of it is so hard. It's so hard to survive. But then you make it past that 2-year pro mark, and then I don't want to say you're good to go, but you're gonna have a career. Now, how far your career goes, that's between you and the gods. But you can do everything right and fracture your orbital and never fight again. Or you can do everything right and retire a champion, So, yeah. I don't even know what the initial question was that you asked me. I just was like, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah, but I mean, you explained the journey so well, because I have another viewer who he's pro. And I think after 2 years of it, he realized the same. That's why he hasn't fought in a while. He's like, oh, pro didn't pay the bills either. It's like, he's definitely going through what you're explaining, that second 2-year dark period. It's just, man, it seems like if you want to be a fighter, like a really good fighter that also survives and is healthy, it's probably even harder than being an actor. You might as well live out a Hollywood dream, go to Hollywood, try to become an actor.
Yeah. The percentages are a little bit better in fighting. right? Like 5% of people that are in SAG, the Screen Actors Guild, actually make their living from SAG. But I don't know, you're getting your ass kicked in a different way, I guess.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, one's more ego, right? The other's more kind of
Rejection,
actual.
rejection,
Yeah.
rejection. Yeah. Do this. I don't want to do that. Do this or don't get the job. Okay, I'll do it.
Yeah.
But the one thing about fighting is you can really, you can do it, right? It's probably the hardest thing you can choose to do, or at
Yeah.
least one of the hardest things you can choose to do. But if you're true to yourself, you're true to your vision, you lock it in and you really commit to doing the work and you have the right team around you. I've seen that. Unfortunately, I've seen that often in all the combat sports of the right talent with the wrong people around them.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah. Whether it's their coach is a fraud or the manager doesn't have their best interests at heart. These guys who get this opportunity and they have no idea that they're the B-side. They have no idea that they're the goldfish being sacrificed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So a lot of things have to go right. But if you have the right people around you and you are committed and understand what commitment is, you can do this, right? The barrier to entry is actually a lot lower than a lot of people realize, as far as skill level, as far as athleticism, as far as genetics and talent. We don't have the freak athletes where, like the NFL, right? Where it's all freak athlete and you have to be, of this genetic makeup to even be considered. There's a place in fighting for just about everyone. I mean, there's guys with one arm that do well.
Yeah.
Right?
I saw a
Right?
guy with one leg in the boxing ring.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's more about grit and self-belief, determination, and commitment. You put that together and you decide that you're going to do it and you honor your commitment to do it.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, now I'm going to sound like my grandfather, but kids today, commitment, responsibility, grit. Sorry. Not their strong point.
Yeah.
Not their strong point.
Yeah. I'll just tell a very quick thing to support what you're saying is that, for example, I'm helping Xavier Santana in Florida put on, he's got kickboxing, Muay Thai Sanda. We're about to have our third show in November, right?
Where is that show?
It's gonna be the Fort Lauderdale area, so like South Florida, but north of Miami.
Okay.
And people, we're looking for people right now. Like you said, if people really want to fight, there's always promotions looking.
Yeah.
Of course, we're going to screen them, right? We're not going to have someone off the street. But like, if you train and we can see that, okay, you've even done some maybe point fighting, you've done some semi-contact, it's okay to have your debut in our promotion because we're going to pair you up with someone who has similar experience. So exactly to Rachel's point, if you don't think it's easy to find a place to fight, you're not looking hard enough.
Oh, absolutely. And back to the, kids today and commitment, right? Like, I know I sound like my grandfather, but I couldn't wait to fight. And I was getting in fights that I shouldn't, I was like, that's breaking the law there, buddy. But like so many people sign up and then back out or have this excuse or that. Or how about missing weight? Oh my. Okay. Now listen, it's amateurs. Part of the amateur journey is to figure out what weight you're supposed to fight at and figure out how to have a good diet and nutrition, etc. But it's not that. It's not that most of the time. Most of the time it's just discipline and kids being dumb. But you on your channel, you featured a fight promotion called Fighters Rep.
That's right.
Yeah, with George Francis, and it was a great promotion. But man, he has horror stories of people flaking out at the last time, saying that, signing contract, saying agreeing to and then just not showing up, not returning the tickets, just So, unfortunately, that promotion, because of all that nonsense, right, and because of California regulation, California economy, it was too much work and not enough profit.
Yeah. I will say, George, I went to 2 of his shows, one many years ago and one last year, and man, he upped his production quality. He upped the venue. Like, George did a good job with what he could get with California rules.
I was really sad to see that promotion go, especially with the kickboxing rules, right? It's hard to find any legit kickboxing. And man, he had some good fights.
Yeah.
He had some good fights. Yeah.
Yeah. And his production quality was good. And again, all props and compliments to George. And George, miss you, man. Hope you come back. He was doing stuff in Florida or something. Like, one person, a viewer, was saying, what if Hurricane Santana and George did like a crossover event, the best fighters from each, like fight each other, like a friendly competition, because we all deal with each other. We all know each other, but like that would be a really cool one. But then I would say to that, well, George, you better get some of your fighters to learn Sanda. We want the throws in the kickboxing. So.
Yeah, Sanda is cool. Sanda is cool. It's, I think, I'm sorry that I just go off on these tangents.
No, this is perfect. I love these conversations. This is awesome.
I think a lot of the traditional martial arts are poorly represented now.
Yeah.
And because they've become so watered down, because they don't have a proving ground of competition.
Yes.
Right. And the proving ground or the competition that you have sometimes is the Olympics. That, like, Olympics destroyed Taekwondo, destroyed karate. Some people say it's ruined judo. I don't know enough about judo to say one way or the other, but like, my experience, not practicing karate, but my experience fighting real guys that really trained real traditional karate, we have lost something because we're not training. But you can't train the way that we trained decades ago, because students will stop coming, parents will sue you, etc. I mean, like, that is literally child abuse. Sorry. But it's a way, it's a Tao, and you either walk the path or you don't. But a lot of the traditional martial arts just don't have a valid proving ground of competition to evolve.
Yeah. And
so there's all this knowledge and experience that is just dust in the wind. It's just, but as it is right now, MMA is kind of the proving ground still, right? So at least we have that.
Exactly.
I just moved to Florida. So
what part?
The Space Coast, Melbourne.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So we moved from Los Angeles. To Melbourne, and we knew that we had to get out of LA. Like,
me too. You and I are on the same page.
So many reasons we had to get out of there.
Yeah.
But we weren't absolutely sure that the Space Coast was right. So we took a road trip. We brought our cat with us in the car. came to Melbourne, got an Airbnb, kind of did the recon. On the way back, we gave our notice for our landlord for 30 days.
Mhm.
All right, that's it. And then like 2 days, we're still making the road trip back. My fighter Troop, Blake Troop, calls me and says, Coach, we're going to Japan. And the date that he gave me was the exact same date that we just gave our landlord as the move out date. So we're like, I guess we're calling a moving company and you guys are good. I'm in a three-way marriage. I have 2 wives. I have Taryn and Sarah. We've been together for like 20 years, but it looked like I was going to be in Japan and they were going to be handling the move. But fortunately, all the visa issues between all the fighters didn't work out. So we got moved to a later date. So, yeah, my fighter, Bulletproof Troop, is fighting in Tokyo for K1
Wow.
under MMA rules,
Mhm.
September 7th.
Mhm.
So, like, we leave next week.
Wow. I'm glad I got this interview.
Me too.
And Bulletproof was the guy you showed me, right? You guys, or was that a different?
Yeah, no, yeah. Troop and I were on Master Ken's.
Okay, so it was
channel.
him. I see.
Yeah,
Yeah, he's got a lot of charisma, but you got a lot of charisma too. So you guys,
Thank you.
student and teacher, you could tell. Wow. So do you live together with the 2 ladies or separately?
Yeah. We're married. It's a 3-way marriage. Yeah.
Wow, good for you. Okay.
Well, thank you. Yeah, the way to think about it is like, yeah, I have 2 wives. And I have 2 wives. Anybody? It's like, wait a second. What happens when they start arguing? What happens when they're both mad at you? They're like,
Yeah, I'm
it's not
worried
as
when
fun
they're
as it
both
seems.
mad at you. Usually, if they're arguing, they could probably work it out. But when they're both mad at you, oh,
Yeah. And unfortunately, I'm the kind of guy that it's pretty easy to get mad at. So, but we have a cat, and he's really cool. So no kids, just one cat.
Wow. Well, more reason for me to spend more time in Florida than I've never been to Melbourne. I've only been to Orlando even once.
Okay.
So I need to come visit him. We need to, like, I got some viewers in Orlando and stuff. We got to just all hang out. And some of the people that fight in Hurricane X also come all the way down from North Florida. So yeah, Florida's it's a very interesting state, man. This is the little tangent I'll say. I didn't understand real diversity until I went to Florida. Like LA always like, oh, it's diverse. It's like, no, you don't know, man. Florida, I met Haitians, I met Puerto Ricans, I met Cubans. I was like, I've never met any of those people in LA, and LA tries to be all diverse. It's like, no, Florida has real diversity.
Yeah.
So that's my little compliment to Florida.
Yeah, I mean, we love it here. We're getting used to raining every day for 2 minutes and then everything's fine, but the one thing I can say is it rains on you, but it's not cold. So it really doesn't matter. It's like, okay, it's cool. Yeah. But I guess we haven't really dealt with any hurricane weather.
Yeah.
Yet, so.
So make sure to get the insurance.
Yeah, we like it here. But we moved a month ago, right? We found our place and I'm still not unpacked because I've been in fight camp since before we had a place to live. And so Troop and I have been, we've been really fortunate. So he came out here because this is where I am. And we didn't really know, like, he knows a lot of people in the Tampa area. He lived in Tampa for a couple of years, but that's still 2 hours away from. And anyone that doesn't know about Florida, there's no driving straight because there's swamps and things.
Yeah,
right?
Swamp is all the way in the center of Florida, the entire center.
Tampa's only this far away.
Yeah.
But you got to go up to Orlando and then down.
Yeah.
You can't just go across.
Yeah.
So everything takes a little bit longer to get there. But we found a gym here. Actually, we got 2 gyms. One is called Hotbox MMA, and these guys are awesome. And they've got about 300 students, and they're a Carlson Gracie affiliate, and they're awesome. The Suttons, David and David Sutton, they're awesome, and they've been great to us. We've been popping in and working with their guys, and And then there's the American Killer Bees, which is affiliated with Anderson Silva.
Mm.
And so, I walked in and started talking to the owner, Izzy, and showed him photos of Troop and Anderson sparring. And, so that was pretty cool. But early on, their only heavyweight got injured and had to have ACL surgery. So we aren't working with them so much. But the point that I'm making is there's all these talented, super friendly. And that's the other thing here. Somebody says, "Hey, how you doing?" They actually wait for an answer.
Yeah. Yeah.
In LA, they don't care.
Yeah,
They don't
it's a
want to-
facade. It's all a facade.
So people are really cool here.
Yeah.
Everyone's been helping us.
Yeah.
And then the strength and conditioning that we've been doing, the gyms here are phenomenal, and they're just so accommodating. So yeah, it's looking good. And man, we're looking ready, and we fight September 7th, and man, Troop is gonna drop some warheads on someone's forehead.
So, how did you first meet him? How did he become your student?
So when Troop and I first met, it was at South Bay Jiu-Jitsu in Hermosa Beach. So I'll give you the long and wrong, the whole. There was a movie called Warrior with Tom Hardy and Nick Nolte, and I did all the sound effects for that movie because Gavin O'Connor, the director, went to the sound company and was like, "I don't like none of these noises are what I want, the real thing." So he also did a movie called Miracle and did the same thing with them, and like made professional hockey skaters skate and listen to and run the microphone along the ice. And so my friend and I spent like 2 days at South Bay Jiu-Jitsu just beating the shit out of each other.
Oh, and getting the sounds.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh.
And after that, I would talk to the owner, and he was like, "Hey, well, why don't you come train with us? And you can teach boxing." And so I was training at South Bay Jiu-Jitsu for a while, and Troop and I met there, and he did not like me when we first met. First of all, he was fighting at 185, and then he just fought, and then he was going to fight 2 weeks later at 170. Now, today he's 6'4", 240 plus.
Oh.
And I showed him a picture of him hanging out with Stephan Bonner and Forrest Griffin, dwarfing both these guys.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you were fighting at 185.
Yeah.
You should be fighting at 205. You're big for 205.
Yeah.
But he didn't know who I was. I'm just some old fucking, whatever guy. And he was like, "Fuck off, Grandpa." I don't
Yeah.
And that was early on. That was probably, I'm going to say 2014, maybe. But he and I were like friends on social media. And so he, unbeknownst to me, was like watching me, and he would watch the posts and he'd watch how I worked. And so he was like really, really cautious to get involved with anyone and let anyone have the position of coach, because he's had bad experiences. Right. And he, to this day, manages his own career because he had bad experiences with managers, and he's done a phenomenal job. So once he started seeing, the thing that did it is he has an exercise science degree.
Mm-hmm.
So he went to school for exercise science. He's also a certified athletic trainer. So when I would make posts talking about strength and conditioning and neurology and blah, 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 blah. He's like, oh, this guy knows what he's talking about. And then he saw me working with the professional boxers. And, you know, we were getting high level fights, you know.
Mm-hmm.
And then he's like, okay, well, you can corner me. You can be my coach, but would you mind cornering me for this fight? And he had a fight for I think it was LXF, and it was a title fight, but it was at 185. And he fought Moses Marietta and almost finished him in the first round. And then Moses hung in there, and things went the way they went, and Troop got split open with an elbow from guard, and then it was stopped on the cut. So then after the fight, I asked him to sit down with me, and we went step by step, frame by frame. And I said, you know, you could have finished this guy in the first round if you had, let's say, 15 extra seconds. You could have finished him. Yeah, I agree with that. And we went step by step, and we broke it down, and he could have, like, had he, you know, made this choice instead of that choice. And there was one moment where he had his opponent pinned against the cage and was like punching him. And then he turned and looked at the ref like, hey, are you going to stop it? I was like, no. You have to scare the ref by beating the fuck out of this guy. You should have been elbowing him and punching and knee in the body and like, scare everyone. And after sitting down and going frame by frame through the fight, he's like, I want you to be my head coach. I want you to teach me how to box for real. And I did. And like, he's an MMA fighter, but he's sparred with Derek Chisora. He's sparred with Joe Hanks. He's been at the top of the food chain in boxing.
Wow.
And I think boxing is one of the most important skills in MMA. And a lot of people think they know how to box, but no, you know how to punch. And it's not the same. And a lot of MMA guys, and I speak from, I've coached at a very high level for a very long time. And I will tell you, a lot of MMA guys just they won't go to the boxing gym and get their ass kicked. They don't like it. And it's like, you have to do that. Just like you have to get on the mats and get thrown by a wrestler. You have to get on the mats and get choked out by a jiu-jitsu black belt. You got to get beat up by a boxer.
Yeah.
You have to, right? You got to get kicked in the leg by a Muay Thai guy. You got to get kicked in the liver by a Shotokan guy. Like, these are things that you have to do if you're going to progress. Because if you don't know that's out there, and then you encounter it in the cage, well, that's the wrong time.
Yeah.
You do it in the training, right?
Yeah.
You die 1,000 times in training, or, you know, whatever the expression is. We sweat in training so we don't bleed in battle. What? Yeah. You get the idea.
Yeah. Exactly. So what's next for you? I mean, obviously you got the Japan thing, but what's next in the long run for you guys?
So we got this Japan thing.
Mm-hmm.
And the next thing I can't talk about yet.
Okay. So we'll have to wait until then. Do another interview.
But if it goes the way it's supposed to go, everyone will know who Bulletproof Troop is.
Okay.
There's like, it's like, now, you know, the cliche is that we see the tip of the iceberg of success, but we don't see all the sacrifice and all the work, and right. So the decades that he's been putting in, and he crosses over, he does professional wrestling, right? He also does a lot of entertaining and acting. He does commentary. So the promotion, lights out. Extreme Fighting, Sean Merriman's promotion. Troop is his commentator.
Mm-hmm.
And the night that he won the heavyweight title,
Mm-hmm.
he was on the commentary table, covering the events, covering all the fights leading up until and then he went in the back, got ready, came out, won the belt, the heavyweight belt.
Yeah.
So there's some television opportunities in Japan. There's some wrestling opportunities here in the States. There's another thing that's popping off right now that I can't talk about, but we're expecting a bidding war between the Japanese fans and the American fans. So yeah, it's so that's with Bulletproof Troop. With me, I'm setting up a garage gym studio. I'm going to be doing a lot more online, a lot on YouTube, social medias, and some instructional type videos, yeah. And then I'm going to do a service for professional fighters where we just refine the things that they need to refine. So, any professional MMA fighter needs to come and learn how to properly box and box for MMA. And so, we'll do like a 3-day weekend, or they'll come, they'll stay at an Airbnb, we'll train for however long, and then they'll go back home. So that's what's. Can you hear that thunder?
I cannot.
Oh, okay. I'm like,
yeah.
Oh.
Wow.
That's the universe confirming what I just said.
Exactly. So we started out this talk, we mentioned that, the combat sports aren't really how they used to be, right?
Yeah.
So let's talk a little about that. What do you think can make either the combat sports, I don't want to use this word, but I guess we'll use this word. People still have perceptions about the combat sports that are not true, right? They still probably associate combat sports with people who don't use their brains and stuff like that. But what anyone that's done any sort of martial arts or whatever knows, the best fighters are the smartest fighters, man. How do we change these perceptions? Because obviously you go to a bar, which I hate, but one time I went to a bar for a UFC event just to see who's there. And nobody there besides me and my friend trained. Everyone else there was they were sometimes watching our responses and cheering with us, especially when it was on the ground. They didn't know what was going on.
Right.
So how do we increase the education, the level of just proper enjoyment? Again, that sounds judgmental, but it's true. Don't just enjoy it for the knockouts, which obviously that is a part of it, but enjoy the technical part, enjoy the journey. So what do you think we could do?
Well, here's the thing. The term casual that gets thrown around, right? And it's derisive, and there are bread and butter. The casuals are 85% of ticket sales, or 85% of pay-per-views, right? So I think this Paramount deal that the UFC, right, that's going to expand the audience. So as long as the audience gets bigger, the hardcore is going to grow also.
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
right?
It's a numbers game.
Yeah. And I think we need to just understand that it's not our place to judge. It's there was some, I don't know, it was like an interview, internet survey or whatever, and guys that think that they could beat a grizzly bear with their bare hands, right? It's and I've trained all my life. I've fought all my life. I wouldn't even fight my cat. Animals.
If you've been scratched by a cat, it digs deep, man.
Oh my! And if he's biting for real, and he's so much faster, and come on,
he's faster than a snake.
Yes,
have faster reflexes than a snake.
And they're one of the only animals, I'm going to nerd out here for a sec, that have 100% activation capacity of the neuromuscular system.
Whoa!
So elite athletes, javelin throwers are the most explosive, most powerful athletes that we know about.
Wow.
They have measured and gotten as high as 92% activation capacity, right?
Wow.
And that's an elite world-class power athlete. Most people are in the low 70s. So, like you hear about the woman who lifts the car off the baby, right? That's 100% activation capacity. Everything's being overridden. But cats just have that naturally, which is why they're able to jump so high and react so fast. But I'm not actually here to talk about cats. I'm here to talk about the guys that think they know how to fight and think that they can fight a grizzly bear. No, but we have to, I don't know, like, just don't be a dick, like, kind of welcome them in. And I think jiu-jitsu is actually great for that, right? Where the new guy comes in and he thinks he's something, and then he just gets manhandled by someone half his size or choked out by a chick. That's a good way to introduce people. But what I would like to see, like Sanda, right? So Sanda, to me, is the salvation for the Chinese martial arts.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Because the problem, a lot of them, like, I know they say, oh, what we practice is too deadly, so we can't. And I know you're smart, but there's truth to that, right? And a lot of the traditional kung fu forms are weapons. And it's like, oh, okay, well, we can't do that, right? But Sanda as a competition, that is the proving grounds for all these myriad kung fu styles, right? And I wish it were more popular. I wish there was more of it. I wish we had the old school Taekwondo competitions. I wish we had the full contact karate competitions that I grew up on in the 80s and 90s. But maybe it doesn't have to be Shin, bloody knuckle, but I don't know. I'd like to see, well, I guess Karate Combat is doing something cool, even though most of the guys aren't karate anymore. They're like retired MMA fighters. But yeah, I wish there was more competition for more of the traditional martial arts. And, more crossover and like going from kickboxing to Sanda to jiu-jitsu to catch wrestling to MMA.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think that's how that's kind of what I grew up doing. So
yeah.
I did it out of necessity, because there weren't any MMA schools or gyms. So it's like, well, what can you teach me? What can you teach me?
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think it would be cool. I don't know what the future holds, honestly, right? Like, sometimes I get really skeptical about World War III and Gavin Newsom, but then sometimes I get pretty optimistic of, like, we're going to sort this stuff out. We're going to figure it out. I don't think the nation's as politically divided as it seems. I think a lot of people are pulling strings and the media is doing it, right.
Yeah.
So I think the struggle is economic.
Yeah.
Right. Because so many people are struggling just to put food on the table and keep a roof over the head. How are you going to train?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So once, and again, this is me with rosy glasses on, I guess, but optimistically, I do think things are going to get better. I do think the economy is going to get better for a lot of people. And I do think the middle class will regrow in our country. And then people will have time and money to train.
I hope when the information is out there for people that want to test themselves, that, oh, it's not just MMA. There's kickboxing. There's Muay Thai, there's Sanda, more and more Sanda. There's a lot of things. Then people will have more places to test themselves. That's very important. Like you said, Silala, who I feature on my channel a lot, the Wing Chun guy in Taiwan. Like, what did he do? He tested himself in all these. He went into Japanese jiu-jitsu matches even, right? Just to test his Wing Chun. And so, especially as I get more involved with Hurricane X and just many local promotions, I hope viewers know there's like this middle area. You know, you don't have to aspire to be Conor, but you can aspire. Okay, if I want to have 1 or 2 fights, there's places that would love to have you. And I think this is something, we're going deep here, but this is something that society needs. A lot of societies back in the day, there was always a ritual for you to do to grow up.
Rites of passage.
Yeah, rites of passage for men and women. For us now, it's going to college, which is not a rite of passage.
Oh, I thought it was Instagram.
Or Instagram, yeah. Or it's Instagram, yeah. Yeah, before even going to college, it's getting an Instagram, right? Yeah. Like, we need something more tangible that takes something more. So I think every man, maybe if you don't want to risk brain damage, don't do a full-fledged fight, but at least do a semi-contact fight or something.
Listen, brain damage is real.
Yeah.
It is. But you still get in your car every day. Like, if you were pragmatic and you understood the risk that you take when you get behind the wheel.
Oh, yeah.
And paralysis, death, brain damage, being burned alive. Like, these things happen, but you don't think about it. And it's like, the only thing keeping you safe is 2 yellow lines painted on the pavement and the agreed upon that he's not going to come over and smack, but right. So I don't know. I think brain damage, the way I train my fighters, we mitigate, and that's a real concern.
Yeah.
But if in normal training, in grappling, in jiu-jitsu, even if you're taking a Muay Thai class, no, you're not taking the repetitive blows of the head. You're not getting, and if anybody is clocking their opponent, their training partners, they're kicked out, right? Yeah. Everyone is very, very careful now.
Yeah.
Right. Everyone knows what's up. So brain damage is a concern for professional fighters.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a concern. I don't think it's a realistic worry for hobbyists and normal people. I call them civilians, right? But to your point, I do think civilians should compete.
Yeah. Yeah.
And just the act of competition, regardless of the rule set, it changes you.
Yeah.
For the better.
You for the better. You just realize that certain things I can let go. You know, like, you realize certain things you can let go. So what if he hurt my feelings? I've been punched before. Seriously, like, sometimes you need to taste a punch to realize, oh yeah. So what if that person, I mean, especially in LA, there were times in LA, especially, you know, they're very sensitive around there, especially when they were afraid of that mysterious thing of origin from another country we can't really talk about that locked a lot of things down, right? You know, there were people who, like, basically tried to assault me for just not wearing a mask.
Oh yeah.
And I remember I just laughed it off because I'm like, you don't know what a punch is. I do know, and I'm taking mercy on you. You know, I was just telling them, I was like, you have a right to think what you can, but, you know, don't put your finger here anymore ever again. But like, I could, like, that's assault right there. I could have fought back a little, you know, at least gave them a little bit, but I was like, no, it's my responsibility because I know what it's like. I don't want to hurt them.
One of my friends, his name's Cameron Fardad. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt, and he did very well in MMA. When he was going through the scamdemic, he never wore a mask, and he'd walk in and they would say, "Oh, sir, you need to wear a mask." And he would look at them and say, "Oh, thank you," and smile and keep going.
Nice.
And I was like, "Oh man, I wish I did that." You know, I was the guy that was just like, "All right, I'll put it on and I'll go and do what I need to do, and then I'll take it on." Like, okay, I'll play your silly little game, but yeah. And, um,
And
but
I
to
will
your,
tell you,
yeah, go ahead.
I would tell you that countries that have mandatory military service,
Yeah,
those men, they go a few years between high school and college, and when they go to college, they're a lot more mature. The guy brain, right, is naturally a little bit behind the female brain. We mature a little later. So, like, that's why people understand why do so many societies have rite of passage rituals, especially for men. It's
yeah,
partly because of this. Through thousands of years, functionalistically, they realize, oh yeah, men mature a little later. Therefore, we need to give them some time / some reason and effort.
yeah.
And our society forgot that.
I'll be 55 in February, and I might mature. Hopefully,
Basically.
I'll make it by then.
Yeah. I think it sucks because we men have a biological clock, right? But a lot of times we men are like good husbands in our 50s and good fathers in our 50s. But a lot of us have kids in our 20s or get
Yeah.
married in our
Yeah.
20s. And that's where half the problems when it comes to family, everything. It's like you're forcing, biological clock, but also societal expectations force men into things they're not ready yet.
Yeah, yeah.
But maybe
absolutely.
they would be ready if you focus more attention / effort in helping them grow up a little quicker, but like in a natural
or
way.
they would be less impulsive and be more mature and not make those life-altering decisions until they're a little bit older, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, absolutely. I don't know if everyone needs to get punched in the face, but I have a friend. His name's Primo Bellarosa. He does commentary for a bunch of Muay Thai fights. He owns a school up in Maine called Vision Quest Muay Thai, and he would say, "I don't really trust somebody until we've punched each other in the face."
Yeah.
Well, no, we're cool, but I don't actually trust you.
Yeah.
Until you've hit me and I've hit you, then I know, okay, all right, I know
Yeah.
where we're at.
There's a Chinese expression, you don't know someone until you guys fight, like fist fight. It's the same thing. Like many societies have
Oh
found
yeah,
similar principles.
yeah, absolutely, and there's there's tons of cultures that have those rites of passages, have those rituals where the villages come and fight each other, for the day, and then it's a celebration, So
Yeah. So either way, I just know, especially you and I both agree that I don't think society's as polarized. There's just forces / media being incompetent that's generating some of it. But the general trend with everyone being more disconnected, I think, is a trend. And I think a way around it is through events and community. And what better way of bringing people together? You can bring people together to do problem-solving behavior. So, like, that's why I'm a big fan of chess. I'm a big fan of those types of things. But you can also bring people together for entertainment. And what's better than everyone understands what a punch is, even if they've never been punched. That's a great community activity.
What are you currently training as far as what martial art?
I'm currently injured. So my current training is I need to do a lot of PT and
physical therapy.
I need to do a lot of positive thinking and just it's been. But yeah, before my injuries, I was getting into Savate, and shout out Nicholas Signac. I was going to really train with him, but yeah.
So when I was
fighting
back in the 90s,
I
was in New York, but I would fly out and do long sessions with Eric Paulson.
Wow. Okay.
So
he knew Eric Paulson. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. He's there.
Yeah. He showed me that fight Eric Paulson did where the guy just pulled his ponytail. Remember, I did the commentary with Coach Nick, and because the UFC is so popular, none of us knew about that other league that only had like 2 events. But yeah, it was so sad that that's how he lost. It was because of his hair. Ugh.
Well, and when you ask him about it, well, why didn't you cut your hair? Well, I didn't know we were pulling hair. That was his, because nobody talked about, like, he thought it was an event, and he was fighting in Shuto in Japan, right? So he was used to a MMA rule set, but it was actually a real rule set. And then he took this fight, and they're like, nah, anything goes, right? And they didn't even have real refs. But you know, that's kind of what I grew up in. So but
In
no, Nick, I love Nick.
Oh, that's awesome. I'll tell him. In your no holds bar day, was there hair pulling?
Yes, which is why everyone had this haircut.
Wow. So there was hair pulling.
There was no biting, no eye gouging.
So groin hits were allowed.
Groin hits were allowed, but nobody did them because we just didn't.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like, if I attack his groin, he's going to attack my groin. So we had this unwritten, right? But yeah, headbutts, strikes to the back of the head, knees to down. Yeah, I mean, there was nothing, right? Fights were a lot shorter back then too.
Wow.
Right? Because you know, a lot of the, like, you watch UFC now, and somebody will get on top, and then the other person will put them in guard, and then there'll be time spent where the person on top is not really passing guard, but doing like these little body head shots, you know, and then they move, and a whole lot of time is spent there. But back in my day, headbutts were allowed, so they try and lock up the guard. You, boom, boom, and it sucked for both of you. Yeah, he had bicep control and headbutts. And it's, you know, but my point is, fights were over way faster. And like I said, we did stupid shit like, okay, you got to fight 3 times in one night with headbutts and elbows, and okay. Wow. Yeah, it was, you know, the one thing I fought, I don't remember it was in New York City. And the rule set was, if you don't win, you lose.
Oh, no fight to a draw.
No judges. There was a time limit. And there were weird time limits back then. Like 1 7-minute round or what, you know, it was like, but we didn't know what we were doing, right?
Yeah.
And I don't remember the specifics. I don't think there were multiple rounds. I think the rule set was, I think this one was a 12-minute. And if after 12 minutes, if you don't win, you both lose.
Wow.
And that influenced me and taught me more about fighting than all my other fights. Because it's like, you know, the movie Gattaca, right?
I love that movie.
Okay. I didn't save anything for the trip home.
Yeah.
It's like, listen, we're all in.
Yeah.
And I win or I lose.
Yeah.
There's no playing it safe. There's no waiting for the judges and hoping that this guy, and no. You go and you give it your best and you give it your all. And if it's good enough, you finish that guy. And if it's not, then you get finished or you both lose. And
what was the most brutal one you had? Did you remember a fight where there's a lot of blood or something like that?
Honestly, most of them were really pretty bloody. I mean, you know, we had headbutts and elbows and bare knuckle.
Yeah.
But it it was a little bit superficial compared to some of the professional boxers. Man, just today I was holding focus mitts for Troop, and he had just a 4-ounce glove on, and he was working on a specific punch that we work on. We call it the ball peen hammer. Oh my God. Boom. Oh, like the amount, it was just like, the point that I made is just a little bit of padding makes you able to hit so much harder.
Yeah. Yeah.
But he's still getting the knuckles right into the mix. So it's just like, wow. But back then we'd get a lot of broken hands
Yeah.
because like to actually punch properly bare-fisted takes a lot of training, a lot of practice, and a lot of repetition so that every time you land, you get those knuckles on.
Yep. Yep.
Because my background was traditional karate, I had that in my pocket, but then I learned how to box and how to do Muay Thai and how to do jiu-jitsu. I mean, back in 1999, I was a purple belt in jiu-jitsu.
Wow.
In New York City, which was about as common as a unicorn, you know?
Yeah.
But fights were bloody, but a lot of the damage was superficial because, you know, knuckles were carved, and, you know, so I don't know if anyone actually wants to look that closely. I've got some pretty funky scars around my, but we weren't getting, I mean, there were a couple KOs, head kicks, elbows. Most of my fights were won by ground and pound.
Oh.
Right. So, and back then it wasn't like a horrible thing to tap out to strikes if you were getting elbowed in the face. And we didn't really have a ref the way that we have refs now to stop the fight.
Yeah.
So now you don't tap the strikes because the ref is going to
Ref's gonna, yeah.
Right. But back then, you want to keep getting your face smashed in, that's cool with me.
Yeah.
So we, you know, tapping the strikes wasn't like this horrible thing. But the Ngannou knocking out Uberim, that kind of like that wasn't quite so common in my day in what we were doing, right? Where you could just generate that kind of power and not have to worry about your hand exploding or, you know.
Do you remember your toughest fight during those days?
You know, this is what's pretty interesting. My fighter, Blake Troop, he is like a bipolar genius. Like he can remember people's names and he has like, oh, this person in professional and this person is the CEO of this and da 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 and this guy and da da da, and he remembers every fight that he remembers every fight that he has, and he remembers their names. And now it's a little bit different because every fight that he had a fight camp preparing for one guy to fight, where there were times where we showed up, me and my corner or my best man or whatever you want to call him, we would show up and, hey, you want to fight? Okay, cool. What we're going to fight? What order are we?
Wow.
We're fight 4? Okay, cool. Yeah, like
wow.
Yeah, or
so there wasn't like a professional matchmaker either.
No.
Wow.
It was like underground.
Underground.
Fighting, right?
That's the definition of underground. Wow.
And there were some fights that were like, okay, you're gonna fight him, and it's gonna be on this day. And we did have that, and but do I remember anyone's name? Not. Did I know anyone's name? I mean, the other thing also, a lot of us didn't use our real names.
Oh, makes
Right?
sense. If it's underground
Yeah.
and technically
Like,
illegal. Yeah.
You think your name is really is he really named Monster? Coming from a guy named Rage, right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
oh yeah. Your name is Raging. Sure. Okay. Cool story, bro.
And so obviously the matches were often shorter and people hit with more precision / care. What position did you find yourself ended up in? As in, well, first of all, was it even a cage or was it more like a pit?
it it was different, right? We never, it was never like I don't know, like the movies where they have like a parking lot and all the cars in a circle with their headlight on, and there's a promotion now. It's like King of the Street or something like
Okay.
that.
Yeah. Yeah.
But these guys are wearing sneakers and they're fighting on concrete, and I'm like, whoa! Like we always had either a boxing ring with a canvas. I never really got to fight in a proper cage. But we would have like jujitsu mats, and like sometimes it would be in the basement of there was I think it was called the Gaslighter, or the Gaslight Grill. It was in downtown Manhattan. So there would be these different, and sometimes it would be at a warehouse, or sometimes it would be in the base or somebody's gym. The only legal fight that I had, it was supposed to be in Massachusetts, and it was supposed to be called Mass Destruction.
Oh, that's awesome.
And the athletic commission didn't come back with the official rules, but the promotion with the fight was on, and then I get to the venue, and I was excited because I'm like, this is actually a real sanctioned event.
Yeah.
And then because everyone was trying to kill MMA at the time, they came back with these ridiculous rules where it was basically just like, I don't even know and so the guys that were putting it together, and they were some of the original Naga guys, they had a contingency, and they moved it to Rhode Island, which was actually like an hour, because like New England, the states are like this big, so you can drive from Massachusetts to Rhode Island, and yeah, it was like, okay, well, you just have to drive 30 minutes north, and we'll do it in Rhode Island. And then it was called Rhode Island Valley Trudeau. But it had more of a pancration rule set, so no gloves, but there was no fists to the face, but elbows to the body, knees to the body, punches to the body. But within like the first, I don't even know, it happened very quickly. I got full mount, and then you can actually see me on the video go,
Oh, that's funny. Wow.
and I'm like slapping him, and he like kind of bucks me off, and then I'm like, oh, okay.
Wow.
So it turned into more of a pancration rule set. But yeah, it was like the athletic commission was intentionally trying to sabotage the event, but the guys, they salvaged it, and then all of a sudden they came up with Naga, and they're one of the more successful. But yeah, I'm not sure what question that was I was answering, but
yeah, it's just interesting because we always wonder that type of underground fighting, what exactly the fights were like, and that's why I was asking you about
yeah,
your toughest fight or etc. But we've all seen.
So do you know who Greg Nelson is?
Yeah.
So I'm through Eric Paulson and Todd Fosse, and I'm friendly with Greg Nelson.
Mm-hmm.
I really like him. I really respect him.
Mm-hmm.
I was hanging out with him actually at Todd's house, and we're sitting around a campfire, and he's telling me about cold house fights. I'm like, I've never heard of this, because it's Minnesota, and I was from New York City. So a cold house is a house that's under construction.
Oh.
So the house is like, the frame was built, but they don't have the central heating. They don't have all the wiring done. It's just like, so it's this, and they would fight in the basement of a cold house
Oh,
as though it was like a residential, developmental.
I
And
see.
yeah, but it's not really, I don't know. In some ways it is different, but it's also really not that different.
Yeah.
It's way less glamorous and movie like than you'd expect. It's like, in a lot of ways, it's just a fight is a fight, bro.
Yeah. Yeah.
And we're fighting. So
Yeah. How many people attended as in spectators?
so early on, when it was just, for me, right, this was kind of like a pet project for the criminals in New York, or the five families and some of the motorcycle gangs, not so much the politicians, the real criminals. But and it was kind of like, it started out like, oh, my guy can beat your guy. And in those days, there was probably less than 100 people total, right? And it was just, maybe 4 or 5 fights total on the card. Oh, my guy can beat your guy, his guy can beat your guy, and then, okay, let's prove it. And then it started, and there was a massive, in New York City, the underground gambling, the illicit poker and card, like, it's the reason they keep it illegal is because it's unbelievable how much gambling there is in New York City. So pretty soon after that, right around, I'm going to say 98, 99, they were events. They were like who's who, and people that is just like, that's a famous celebrity
Oh, wow.
who was able to get into this event because they know somebody that knows somebody. And I was getting paid. Like I was getting paid. I was getting taken care of.
Wow.
I wish I was financially literate back then. I wish I knew anything about money management or the amount of money that my wife at the time and I squandered. I have different wives now, and there's no place easier to squander money than New York City. I'll tell you that.
Bet. That's why it's New York.
Yeah. Yeah. But if I just, took a fraction of that and invested in, just put it in an interest-bearing account and don't touch it. Just,
that's the key.
Just any stupid little thing. I'd be a lot better off. But lessons learned.
Yep.
That wasn't the case for everyone back then. Like a lot of guys that I talked to would get paid, but not taken care of, right? Where I was paid and I was taken care of pretty nicely. Yeah. And like, I remember one event I was at in California with Josh Barnett, and somebody, I don't know, they said something to Josh that he didn't like. And he said, we can do it the amateur rules. But my amateur rules that I came up with So, back then there was no amateur, there was no professional. It's like, okay, I guess we're an amateur because I'm not getting paid, but I'm getting elbowed in the face. And we don't have gloves on, and
Wow. So Josh Barnett he wasn't part of the New York scene, but
no,
okay. I see.
I know him through Eric,
Oh, that makes sense.
and through boxing.
Mm-hmm,
So my boxing coach, Jamal Abdullah, was Josh's boxing coach, and so Josh would spar with Joe Hanks and Blake Troop, and so that's more how we know each other, but we have a long history of knowing of each other, because like, oh, you grew up on his mats, and and there's a lot of that, especially in Los Angeles, because the people that stay in it, eventually everybody meets everybody, and everyone, it just gets smaller and smaller the longer you stay.
Yeah, totally. Totally. Wow. Yeah, dude, what we should do in the future is, because you're obviously very knowledgeable about certain subjects. So if I ever need like a guest expert opinion, I will just find a time with you and we can do a 5-minute conversation about whatever topic. Kind of like, how news, they'll talk about it, and then they'll cut to an expert or cut to someone. Like, I've been trying to do that with my videos because that's very authentic to me. I like to be journalistic. So I was talking with my stand-up comedy friend yesterday. He's a guy who I trained with, who's now in New York doing stand-up comedy full time. And he agreed with my sort of approach to all this. He's like, dude, I think Jim Carrey said it. If you're going to do something, then do it your way and fail doing it your way. Don't fail doing it other people's way, right? You're going to at least try, and there's a chance of failing, and be authentic to yourself. And that was the big kind of epiphany I had this year. I'm having many epiphanies this year. When you're injured, sometimes you get to like think about stuff.
I was going to say,
yeah,
because when you have time to think.
Yeah, when you have time to think, right? So one of my epiphanies, I'm journalistically trained. Let's make my stuff more journalistic. The second thing is I lost a bit of myself, and part of it was unfortunate because of the unspecified thing of Chinese origin that we can't really talk about. YouTube was really cracking down hard and censoring a lot of stuff back then. So like I lost a bit of I used to curse. I used to be funnier. And it's like I lost a little bit of it. If you watch my old videos, a lot of people love, like I used to be more funny. And I'm like, I got to get some of that back now. So starting from now on, I will start swearing in my videos when it's authentic to me, right? I'm not going to just swear because, a potty mouth, but like sometimes you want to swear. Yeah. That's going to be, so like I'm working back to like a little middle ground between when my channel started blowing up and now.
What's you speak Cantonese?
I speak Mandarin.
Mandarin. Okay. So swear in Mandarin. Start there.
Oh, that would be funny. The funny thing is YouTube's AI I would call it AI. It got good enough that starting in 2022, the Chinese channels were getting yellow too. So because at first I almost wanted to write a letter.
Wait, did you just make you said the Chinese channels were getting yellow?
Yeah, yellow as in demonetized. When you get demonetized,
I thought you were being racist.
It gets yellow. Oh, that's so funny. Yeah, so when you get demonetized, what it shows as like monetization, it becomes yellow. Yeah. So in 2020, I remember I felt it was so unfair because Chinese channels would talk about the things that we weren't allowed to talk about in English, and they'd swear and stuff, and they were never getting in trouble. But then the algorithm caught up, the AI caught up, and now suddenly like 2021 and definitely 2022 and onwards, all the Chinese channels were like, oh my God, we're getting the demonetization. They would call it Huangbiao. Huangbiao means, oh, we got the yellow logo. And so I was like, oh, I guess that's not karma, but it's like, you guys got equal treatment now, finally. The other thing that's really annoying is sometimes you'll cover the Chinese content, and if it's owned by like a state-run organization in China, they have all the resources to like not follow their own laws and like put stuff on YouTube and make money off us, and they'll
Right.
still claim revenue. It's
Right.
like, how hypocritical are you? You're technically not allowed to go on YouTube, but you use a VPN, you create an account, and you pretend you're in Hong Kong or Singapore or America, and then YouTube pays you a lot of money, and then someone tries to cover your stuff, very fair use, and you still try to take them down. It's like, I might one day still write to YouTube about that. It's so unfair. They need to fix the system. Like, I've had to deal with copyright, unfair copyright, not like, oh, I'm just stealing, but like I'm covering them, I'm creating comedy, I'm commentating, I'm critiquing, and they just automatically take it down because they don't understand American law. Maybe if you
Right.
want to use the copyright tools, like YouTube should force them to pass like a bar exam or something.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's my little rant for you.
There you go. Yeah. Unfortunately, if there any government's involved, it's going to be corrupt.
Yeah. Let's do more talks in the future, and then we'll have you as one of those experts I can call on, because I'm just trying to find a list of people. My goal is whenever I can find an expert, I'm 1 or 2 messages away. It's like one person might be busy, second person can be my 5 minutes that I put in the next video. That's my goal.
Oh yeah.
Build
Yeah,
up
I
a list of
appreciate
people.
that. I'd love to do that.
Yeah.
Any strength and conditioning, modern science, strength and conditioning, boxing, kickboxing, and MMA. Those
Yeah.
are my areas of expertise.
Perfect. Yeah. And I'm sure those are all topics I love and my audience will love. So that's perfect. Cool, guys. This was Rage Eng, and that is his real name. And it's an awesome name.
Awesome, man. This was great. I really enjoyed this.